Hi, this is Peter,
Hi, this is Sandra,
and we are medievals.net.
and today we're going to be talking to you about...
The Borgias.
Anyway, so moving right along, another fantastic episode. I'm enjoying this season like crazy. I don't know about you, it's so action-packed.
I was a little less into this episode than you.
I can't talk to you anymore.
And we were talking about this a little bit before, but we get to see all these kind of little minor characters that are coming around, and like to me, like it's we've got the King Ferdinand of Naples. We've got a
Orsini's, the Colonnas, all the Romagna families.
And they spend
the Tullys.
they spend a few minutes, hyping up this one guy in Florence. I see some guy from Perugia, and he's a mercenary. I take it.
Vitelli, I think it is.
Yeah, but none of these characters have any kind of depth at all to them. Like they're all just cardboard cutouts of each other. And
if it were a game of chess, they would be just pawns.
Yeah,
they're not main players.
Like the one thing is we before we watched this, we watched Game of Thrones, and they have a million
can't
characters.
Tell we didn't change.
Yeah, shocking.
For this video review,
I know.
Anyway,
well, we watched Game of Thrones, and they have hundreds of characters too, but
ridiculous.
Every character they have has some interesting bits of it. They're unique in their own sense. They're memorable.
Well, here's the thing,
and they get time on their own to talk and express ideas. Here, this is like, here's 5-6 guys, and
Yeah, but you know what the problem with that is? Hold on. I would disagree. I don't think every character in Game of Thrones is all that fascinating, even some of the main characters. And going back to Borgias, I think the issue with Borgias is that it has to more or less follow the historical story of that family. Sorry, I have like a hair in my eye. I can't get out. So if I keep touching my eye inadvertently,
we're just falling apart. It's pretty late tonight.
So yeah. So I think, because it has to sort of reflect what happened in reality, there's no fantasy element really where it can get away with making things up as they go along. They have to show the fact that there are all these Romagna families after the Borgias. So they have to sort of name them and put them out there for us, sort of like tipping their hat to history and saying, we did our due diligence and we looked up which families were against the Borgias, and here we're going to throw somebody in a costume with some hair extensions, and he's going to be an Orsini.
Yeah. Well, the only problem is that I don't know what's an Orsini and what's a Colonna and what's a D'Este and who's this and who's that. Literally, after a while,
you got the names right.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a first.
But it's not like one guy has an argument with Cesare towards the end. I don't know who he was. I just know he's one of the bad guys.
He's Orsini.
It didn't matter. It wouldn't matter at all what his last name was. He's just.
But it does matter because they have to show that he's one of the main plotters. Katerina Sportsovsky.
I suppose.
I love that they call her the bitch of Forli, by the way.
But to me, he's not his character is so one-dimensional that
he's just there as a stand-in to show something.
And either they kind of do a couple of those characters really well, or just keep them really in the background. Don't have them interacting. They're just
But they have to show the tension and the fighty aspect.
Well, I didn't. To me, so far these characters they mean nothing to me. So,
but they're not supposed to be me. They're just
they're not any threat.
That they're an imminent threat.
Because
what do you want them to do? Just put cardboard cutouts of Romagna families around at the wedding? Don't talk. Don't say anything. Just Have that cardboard cutout stand there as a representation of your
Hey,
clonus.
that could be okay. Just like
Moving right along.
they. Well, um we do get like some main character action. So
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I really, a couple things I liked was, Cesare and Micheletto go to Naples to sort of see the state of affairs there, and they realize that it's all lepers, and the French army left everything in an utter disaster. Micheletto goes into the armory, shakes out some craptacular rusty chainmail, and
they sure found like the most rustiest of the stuff, and like
right.
that's funny, but.
Yeah, and then he realizes that this whole thing about having 10,000 men is BS because the city's falling apart. But it's all a game. It's like it's such a chess match, and they come back and they realize that the King of Naples is an utter bastard and has invited all of these nasty Romagna families plus Caterina Sforza. We have to talk about that scene. I'm a Borgia fan through and through. I'm rooting for them because, they're the Borgias. But I love Caterina Sforza. She is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, they do her well, and like she's one of those characters that she actually has lines of meaning, and
she has kick-ass lines.
And,
She's
and
the best lines.
And she's there's something more to her like in that. So she's like a character, like, and she's done well so far. So.
She comes up. I love it. It's just this tense moment. She walks up to the podium, and Rodrigo holds out his hand for her to kiss it, and she hesitates long enough to cause discomfort and tension, and they're having like a staring match, like Maggie with the unibrow baby in The Simpsons. Sorry, I had to do it.
That's a good reference there. Yes, that really makes.
If that makes sense to anybody. And then she kind of takes his hand like it's a piece of crap and kisses his ring and looks right at him, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't think we'd finally see you, kneel to us." And she's like, "I bend my knee to no man unless I choose." Oh, snap. She just served Rodrigo. Like, I love her. And then she walks around taunting Cesare at the wedding, like, "You could stab me right up to the hilt, but you're not going to." And then he gets sort of hot and bothered and frisky with her in the corner there. But she's such a tour de force. All these crony families are just a joke. She's like a one-woman.
Yeah, like.
What do you think?
Well, yeah, she's something that they enjoy, and like, they have to make this season, like, the threat against the Borgias has to be even greater than last season. Like, because you had the King of France coming after them last season, right? Now. With her, she's just a minor noble, so they have to really ramp up her character to make her obviously a threat to them. So, like, I think they're trying to do their best with that, and
they're kicking ass. I'm fangirling her like big time. I'm like Team Forley. Team Sports right now. But she's awesome. She's hands down one of my absolute favorite characters. Every time she comes on screen, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I detest Alfonso. He just is so, God, like, spineless. Cesare's right about him. He's just kind of like, why didn't you defend my sister? He's just.
It was like, I guess they're trying to, like, he came into the end of last season with a lot of kind of high hopes, right? Like, and we kind of know the historical background, and I can see how now that they're trying to work in this kind of tension, like where, if you saw him in the first couple of episodes, he's just this, nice guy, right?
Yeah, with me when that's over.
He was just this nice guy, and now now he's this kind of naive,
virginal, pious,
yeah,
pretentious little.
that doesn't know what's going on, and he's so kid, which
He's
is
so. He's just. I don't know.
like,
An irritating character, and I kind of enjoyed the fact that he actually saw what Cesare really thought of him on that board when Cesare moved the seating arrangement from wedding seating to friends versus foes, and he saw himself in the middle.
he. I think they're starting to they're moving towards the end game. If you follow the history, there's more that's going. There's some stuff that happens between Cesare and Aragon, uh, and I think they're kind of rushing towards that. So but by the end of the season, you'll see a conclusion to that kind of piece faster than probably was historically around. Like the first few months of the marriage between her and Alfonso was quite pretty good, and they did quite love each other, and they seem to have
Connected.
yeah, exactly. So I think they're kind of rushing along with further developments, and you can go on and learn about that if you really want to.
About what happens between
yeah.
Alfonso and Lucrezia historically.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, because we know everybody is waiting for this, so...
Oh, we can just stop. I'm sure they don't care.
Yeah, okay, so, incest is the new black on TV, apparently. And,
What?
just like the whole... it's like watching Game of Thrones with that whole Cersei Jaime thing. And then now it's watching the Borgias. And I have to have a nod to my friend Nadia, who is in England and has been able to watch the show ahead of me, and it told me, beautifully put, that the incest was tastefully done. I'll never forget that line, and I kind of see where she was going with that today. I had to laugh, and I was thinking, is incest ever tastefully done? I guess, but we're hurtling toward that, and it's interesting because it seems that Lucrezia is definitely the pursuer. Again, I mentioned this last week. She's pursuing Cesare, and Cesare's like, no, but I'll kiss you passionately and run away.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you make of this?
Well, again, this is another great little bit of why they chose the Borgias, right? Because Cesare and Lucrezia, there was always rumors, which who knows, how true they were or were not, but that.
Well, I love her logic. Well, everybody thinks we're screwing anyway, so we might as well get with it and hook up.
It was, it was something that's been teased all throughout the series, right? Like even going back, it's like this. They're always very close, and
personal space is at an all-time low.
Yeah,
between those two.
Between these, so you always have the sense that any second they're gonna kiss each other, right?
And they finally do, a couple times, and they finally I shouldn't say cross the line. They've crossed the line like a million times already, but in terms of really crossing the line, because Lucrezia is unfortunately rejected by Virginal Alfonso, who has a hissy fit when he realizes his brother-in-law doesn't really respect him,
Yeah.
And and then I just I'm trying to still wrap my head around Nadia's whole thing about the tastefully done incest. Was it tastefully done, Peter?
Wow. Again, we watched Game of Thrones just before this, so everything on the boards is more tastefully done.
That's true.
And it was as romantic as they could possibly make it.
For brother and sister lovemaking, and I suppose.
And I hope they'll be happy together.
Best wishes to Cesare and Lucrezia.
Yes.
But seriously, I think I guess if we were going to say anything about it, it's as much as it gives me the heebie-jeebies, if I still can kind of watch the whole thing going on, and I still enjoy the show, even though I have to compartmentalize that aspect of it.
They like I think the show would be they did the best they could with that kind of material, right? Without making it
too over the top,
making it also seem that like this would be something you can't show on TV, right? Like because you don't see too many incest, although we seem to be watching it with lots.
I told you it's the new black on TV. It's like, hey, we kind of ran out of guns and swords and things to do, so hey, what about incest?
Yeah.
So that's the new thing on shows.
So
yeah, I really am enjoying this season. I really enjoyed this episode. It was a lot more calm, let's just say, but it had some really great moments. Like Katerina Sforza stole the show. Of course, the whole incest issue that is just fully blown open now. There's no more chaste kissing. We've gone past third base.
Yeah. Well, I personally like the other wedding that they had, Luke Gretchen's first wedding. That was a great show, and this one was a little tamer.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to wait for wedding number 3.
And see what develops with that whole situation with the French king married to an extremely ugly woman who's barren.
I have to say the French have the funniest stuff. The double bagged.
Yeah, that was that you have to wear a sack and she has to wear a sack, so nobody sees what's going on in the bedroom. That was pretty brutal.
His sack is in case her sack falls off. That's what.
That was a funny line, actually. Yeah. And we're gonna see, now that Rodrigo's pushing Cesare to get married. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I can't remember. Cesare gets married sooner or later, so that doesn't stop him from sleeping with
his sister. Of course not. Why would that ever stop
Borgias,
you? They're Borgias. Only Borgias can love Borgias, right?
In marriages, yeah.
Apparently.
So hopefully we'll see his sister-in-law show up. The one that married the other son. I don't even remember what happened, but Sancha, yeah, because she's family.
Yes, and we're looking forward to another exciting episode next week
Of the Borgias.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.